Okay, so ready to dive in. Today we're looking at something I think a lot of people are thinking about these days. How to make your money actually work for the things you care about.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of a big question.
We've got this episode of the Encompass Investment Show, which is all about what they call purposeful wealth creation. And it's got some really interesting insights, like how do you actually align your investments, the actual stuff you're putting your money into,
Right.
with your values?
Right.
Like how do you make those two things, work together?
Right.
So we're going to sort of break that down today and kind of explore some of those ideas. It's like a little cheat sheet for how to be a better investor, but also how to maybe use your money for, something bigger.
Yeah, it's kind of a shift, isn't it? Because I feel like for a long time, the whole idea of investing has been, all about the numbers.
Right. Just like make as much as you can, as fast as you can.
Exactly. It's like, how do you maximize returns? How do you grow your wealth really quickly? And like, that's been the dominant narrative. But as the Encompass Investment Show points out, it's often at the expense of, thinking about the bigger picture.
Mm.
Like, what are the long-term consequences of just chasing these short-term gains?
Yeah. And you don't necessarily know where that money is going.
Right.
It could be going to something that you're, totally against. So it's like whatever makes the most money. And they don't really care.
Exactly.
It's like those old movies, right? Where you see those crazy stockbrokers,
Hmm.
it's like, it's all about the ticker tape and the screaming and just like, higher, higher.
Right. Just the bottom line. And it's like, who cares what it's actually doing in the
Yeah,
world, right?
exactly. But I think there's definitely like a shift happening,
Absolutely.
right? And this episode we're diving into is really at the heart of that shift.
Yeah.
Can your investments actually be a force for something more?
Right. And that's exactly what the Encompass Investment Show calls purpose-driven investing. And it's not just like some, passing fad.
Right.
It's really a fundamental change in how we view our relationship with our own money. And I think the core concept here, like they talk about, is this idea of intentionally aligning your financial goals with your values. Right. Like the things that you actually care about.
Okay.
Whether it's sustainability, like environmental sustainability, a desire to help your local community, or just, social progress in general. The idea is that your investment choices can actually actively contribute to the kind of future that you want to see.
Okay, so I'm sure that the first thing that everybody thinks about is, well, does that mean I'm going to make less money?
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm, being all good and stuff, does that mean I'm going to be losing out? And I know that they talked about that on the Encompass Investment Show. So what did they have to say about that?
Yeah, they tackle that head on. And the argument they make is that purpose-driven investing isn't actually about sacrificing financial performance just to do good.
Right. Interesting.
Like, it's not either or.
Okay.
It's more like it can actually work together. The idea is that when you focus on businesses and projects that has a strong sense of purpose, you're often investing in entities that are built to last, right?
Okay.
Like they are thinking long term, they're thinking about their impact on everybody, not just shareholders, but like employees, the community, the environment, right?
Right.
And that long-term perspective, they argue, actually leads to more sustainable growth and value.
That makes sense. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to make a quick buck here, but then who knows what happened.
Right,
That they're thinking about the long game. And, that's got to be good for their bottom line too.
Right.
If you're thinking, oh, we got to, make sure we're taking care of the environment. We got to make sure we're treating our employees fairly. All that stuff's got to come back around somehow, right?
Exactly.
So, I feel like that's kind of a little bit abstract, right?
Yeah.
So they gave some really concrete examples, I think, in the Encompass Investment Show. Like, what are we actually talking about here?
Yeah, they do. And I think the examples really bring it to life. One of the things they talk about is sustainable real estate.
Okay. So like eco-friendly buildings.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just like, slapping some solar panels on a roof.
Right.
We're talking about building projects that are designed from the ground up to be environmentally friendly, right?
Okay, so like the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole process is thinking about that?
Exactly. Using sustainable materials, renewable energy sources, the whole thing. And the goal is, to really minimize their impact on the environment.
So it's not just like, oh, I'm going to make money on this building.
Right.
But it's like, this building is going to be good for the planet too, right?
Exactly. It's about, creating a healthier living environment for everyone.
Yeah. Makes sense. What else did they talk about?
Another example they highlighted is the power of investing in local businesses.
Okay.
And I think this one, is probably something that a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you can see the impact right there in your own community.
Yeah. You're not like sending your money off to Wall Street and then, Who knows what happens?
Exactly. It's about, directly contributing to your own local economy.
Right.
Often the focus is on creating jobs, boosting economic opportunities, especially in areas that might be struggling.
Okay.
So it's about making your community more resilient and vibrant. What resonates with you most about that example?
I mean, it just feels very tangible, right? You can
Yeah.
see it. You can see, the new restaurant that opened down the street,
Yeah.
or, the local tech startup that, got funding and is expanding. It's like, that's real. You can
Oh,
see that.
you can see the jobs, right there in your neighborhood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like this abstract thing. It's like, oh, that company's doing well. Like, okay, but what does that actually mean?
Right. This is real, tangible impact.
Right. Yeah, I like that. What else? What else do they talk about?
The third area they highlighted was renewable energy projects.
Okay, like solar panels, wind farms, stuff like that.
Exactly. Investing in things like solar installations or wind farms. And I think, given all the stuff that's going on with climate change, this one feels particularly urgent.
Yeah.
Like we need to find cleaner energy sources.
Right.
And it's not just like, oh, this is a nice thing to do.
Right.
The Incompass Investment Show actually argues that these sectors are often at the forefront of innovation, right?
Okay.
Like they're driving technological advancements. And as the world transitions to a more sustainable energy future, there's a lot of potential for growth there.
Okay.
So it's about protecting the environment, but also, tapping into these promising financial opportunities.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, if we're going to get off of fossil fuels, that's going to require a lot of, research and development and new technologies.
Yeah.
And those companies that are doing that, they're the ones that are going to be, leading the way in the future.
Exactly.
So it's like you're not just investing in, a clean energy company, you're investing in the future of energy, right?
Right.
So it's like we've got eco-friendly buildings, local businesses, renewable energy. It seems like the big takeaway here, the big idea, is that when you actually, really intentionally think about what you care about,
Yeah.
you can find investment opportunities that are good for you financially,
Right.
but also they're actually doing good stuff in the world, whether it's like helping people, helping the environment, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And I think that's where it gets really interesting for our listener. Like,
Right.
why does all this matter to you? The Encompass Investment Show talks about this. And it's really key to understanding the power of this whole idea.
Yeah, so it's not just like, a feel-good thing.
Right.
There's actually real impact here.
Yeah, absolutely. And they make this point that as your financial resources grow, like as you build wealth, you have this increasing ability to actually use that money to shape the world in a way that aligns with your values, right?
Okay.
It's about recognizing that your wealth can be more than just, a personal scorecard.
Right.
It can actually be a force for good.
Right. Okay. And they talked about how that actually, makes you feel too, right?
Yeah, there's a big emotional component to this as well.
Yeah.
Like they talk about the sense of satisfaction and pride that you get when you know that your investments are supporting the things you actually believe in.
Okay. So it's like, it's more meaningful.
Yeah. It's not just about the numbers going up. It's
Well,
like, oh, my money is actually doing something I care about.
Right.
I'm helping to make the world a better place, and that feels good.
Exactly. It gives your financial success this whole other layer of meaning. Yeah. Okay, so that really changes how you think about wealth, right?
Absolutely. And the Encompass Investment Show really emphasizes this point. When your investments align with your values, your financial success becomes more than just, numbers on a screen.
Okay.
It's no longer just this abstract measure of your financial standing. It actually becomes this tangible force for good in the world.
Right. So it's like it's actually doing stuff, right?
Exactly.
It's not just, oh, my net worth went up. It's like, oh, and because of that, these good things happen.
Right. And I think that's really empowering.
Yeah.
It gives your financial decisions this whole new level of impact.
Okay. So as we wrap up all this stuff about purpose-driven investing, what would you say is the big takeaway from the Encompass Investment Show? If you had to boil it down to one sentence, what would it be?
I think the core message, the thing they keep coming back to, is that purpose and profit don't have to be separate things. They can actually work together. By aligning your investments with your values, you can aim to achieve both personal financial well-being and create a positive impact.
Okay.
It's about realizing that those two things don't have to be in conflict.
Right. They can actually help each other.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's say somebody's listening to this and they're like, okay, this is cool. I'm into this.
Yeah.
But I don't even know where to start. What's a good first step?
The Encompass Investment Show suggests starting by just exploring, like take some time, do some research, see what's out there. Look for projects, businesses, or even investment funds that really resonate with your personal values.
Okay.
Maybe it's companies with a strong environmental record, or community development projects in your area, or funds that specifically focus on social impact.
Okay. So just start looking around.
Exactly. And even a small initial investment in something that you really believe in, that can be a huge step.
Okay. Cool. I like that. So as we finish up this deep dive, here's one final thought I'll leave you with. Imagine a world where everyone, or even like, a lot more people, are putting their money into companies and projects that are, financially sound.
Yeah.
But they're also actually trying to solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Right.
Like, what kind of impact could we have? How much progress could we make if everybody was kind of thinking that way? It's pretty amazing to think about. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.